But you know what? This is also economic policy. This is feminist economic policy in action. Studies show that every dollar invested in early childhood education generates between $1.50 and nearly $3 in activity for the broader economy. Nearly 950,000 more Canadians are employed today than were before the pandemic. That includes a record 85.7% labor force participation rate in July for Canadian women in their prime working years. And that is supported by our early learning and childcare system, now nationwide. This level, 85.7%, is a record high for Canada, and it compares to just 77.5% in the US. Now, Jeanette and I were talking earlier today, and she talked to me about how strong the economy is here in Moncton and how labor shortages are a real issue. Making it possible for mothers to work is the best answer to labor shortages, and that is what our childcare system is doing already. I am so glad.
This woman is insane. We're not making it possible for women to go to the workforce. We're making it impossible for them to have the option to stay home and raise their children. And I say this as someone, technically, I still think like I'm a working mom, but I work from home. But I didn't work for 10 years at least. And the only reason that I work at Rebel News is that I'm able to work from home and that I didn't go back into the workforce in any capacity until my littlest one was in school full time. And Ezra basically gave me no option. Like, we'll work around your kids. You get to work from home. You get to do all this stuff. Just, do some journalism for me. And it was the perfect fit for me. But and I realized how, to use the language of the left, how privileged I am to have that. But all most families want is for the government to quit spending their money so that they have more money in their pocket, so that they have the option for mom to be at home. But somehow Chrystia Freeland thinks it's some marvel of modern feminism that we are shoehorning women who don't want to be in the workforce into the workforce so that they can pay some other woman to take care of their children during the day. And that is somehow just some sort of boom to the economy. They have to farm out their childcare so that they can pay the bills when moms just want to be home with their kids. I don't care what anybody says. You're happiest when you're at home with your kids, that you're biologically compelled to raise your children yourself if you can. And because of inflationary prices and the cost of living, thanks to the government blowing my money on everything, women can't do that anymore. And that's not a success story that there's so many women in the economy. I think it's a tragedy for the children and for the women.
And you're totally right, because a lot of people cannot now afford to be at home with their kids because everything costs too much. And now we have more and more people working really early in the stage of their child. And so their child now have like a lack of presence of their parents, when in the early stage of children should be like spending more time with their parents to be like grow in a certain way, that you grow up as you have like a framework, like you have a frame to grow, you have stable life and rules, and it make like some people more ready to grow up and to enter in society life, especially at school. When you begin at school, you need to be like stable and you need to have like a good background, and so you can enter in life. But unfortunately, what she asks is actually totally the opposite. What she's talking about is not in the interest of the children. It's mostly interest of her pocket and the pocket of the government to have like maybe more women to work during the time that they spend our money for useless thing, and to friend during this time, like hard Canadian are working their ass to raise that money that they would never see a penny of it. Like, look at just the health system, especially in Quebec. It's horrible. And we still like raise so much money for it. And at the end of the day, when you really need it, you don't have it.
Yeah. And there's a real injustice in how we look at the value of mothers in this society. For example, the government is willing to fund childcare to a certain amount every single year per child. Why don't you take that amount and knock it off the taxes of these families? If we pay another woman to take care of that child who's unrelated at a daycare, that apparently has value in society to the liberals. But we can't give that family the same tax credit. Let them keep their own money. Don't pay them, just let them keep their own money to the tune of that same value. You see what I mean? Like, if a mother does it, it has no value to the liberals. But if we pay some other woman minimum wage to take care of that child, the liberals are willing to fund it. All I'm saying is treat these two women equally, even though the mother should not be on equal footing as a daycare worker. But within the government's worldview, at least treat those people, those women, those childcare providers, if you will, on equal footing. They don't do it. For example, if you pay a daycare to take care of your child, you get a tax credit for that. But a husband cannot take and give a portion of his income to his wife to get himself in a lower tax bracket while she stays home and raises the children. There is no value for mothers to the liberals in their entire vision of how children are raised in this society.
An example also, like when you do like study at work for children, usually like we will say maybe the government will help you out since you are doing what usually you pay with your tax, but you do it like at home. But no, they make it harder for the parents who wants to do it. And also like they have less privilege that if you do it at home that in school. And it get like to a point that sometimes it finish really badly for parents, especially in Quebec, when you are like decided to do like homeschool at home. Sometimes it not finish well. Like they always make it harder. In the same time you say, oh, but it's the perfect situation. The mother or the father is at home doing school with their children, and we should like maybe think like, oh, government will like compensate and encourage that because it's actually great. But no, it's completely the opposite.
Yeah, and homeschooling actually saves the government money. They don't have to pay a teacher. They don't have to build a bricks and mortar school. The fewer kids are in the cookie cutter system of the government education system, the better it is for the government if they care about economics, but they don't. They only care about indoctrination. The school system is indoctrinating future liberal voters. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, there's no value for women within the liberal worldview, women being mothers. That is just, like it's considered a sacrifice, and it is. But what the liberals are doing is they're taking money from working mothers to pay for the daycare for the working mothers when they could just make it easier for the working mothers to not work and just stay home with their kids where we're happiest. It's what we do. Anyway, nobody likes kissing their kids and going off to work as much as they like kissing their kids, feeding them cereal, and taking care of them throughout the day. It just is. And anybody who says otherwise is a big fat liar.
But anyway, we have Chrystia Freeland for the minister, like that are there for like everything for the money and everything, finance minister. And sorry, I was searching the words. But she seems to not understand at all what finance mean and how we live like in Canada. I don't know if you saw like the small short clip where she say that, do the capitalist democracy still work in Canada? Should we like really trust that anymore? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you're the finance minister and you actually made a doubt. And that was in a school when she was talking about it. And she put like a doubt that maybe what we base our democracy on doesn't work. And you need to watch that. It's just hilarious.
Efron found it for us pretty quickly. Let's see it.
Our time of tranquility is over. and we are living in an age of change. We're living through what President Biden, on a visit to my country in March, called an inflection point, a time of transformation, he said, that comes once every 5 or 6 generations. Now, like it or not, you are graduating into that inflection point. And as some of the very best educated people on our planet, you have the rare and precious opportunity to shape it. So, what is this inflection point? What is this upheaval which is going to the roots of humanity itself? There are many ways to describe this transformational moment, but I think they all come down to one fundamental question. Does capitalist democracy still work? That's the question being posed around kitchen tables in my country and this one, as parents wonder if our children can count on capitalist democracy's essential promise of a future more prosperous than our present. It is the question being posed in the muddy and bloodied trenches of Bakhmut as Ukraine's brave Democrats resist the invading forces of Putin's dictatorship. And
yeah,
it is the question being...
I think that's good. Capitalist democracy does work. It's just that's not what Chrystia Freeland is offering us as the finance minister. Yeah, if you quit meddling in the economy and left business people to do what business people do and quit taking so much of their money and spending it on useless social programs like paying daycare workers when we should just allow moms the opportunity to stay home and raise their kids. Yeah, I think capitalist democracies tend to work. It is the single largest vehicle for wealth generation, and it is the single largest vehicle for freedom, I think, in the history of humanity. And she's like, I wonder if it still works. Maybe try doing it and we'll just find out. Why don't you just try doing it?
Hey folks, that was a clip from the daily live stream. I co-host it Monday to Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Alberta team takes over on Friday. Please tune in. And by the way, we want to hear your 2 cents worth. If you're able to make a minimal $5 donation, we will read your chat on the air live. Thank you.
Justin Trudeau's new censorship law, Bill C-18, it's a shakedown and a desperate attempt to keep the mainstream media afloat. Many have already lost their ability to access our Facebook and Instagram pages. The blackout will soon affect every user in Canada. We've partnered with Private Internet Access, a VPN provider dedicated to safeguarding digital privacy. For just $2 a month, you can maintain your access to our content across all your devices at piavpn.com/rebelnews.